Lori Gagan from Main Street Media Utah.com. We are here tonight with Yvonne, Nick, and current mayor Heidi Franco. And we're actually going to be interviewing some of the citizens that live here tonight. But I've got Nick here, and I want him to explain the bypass. So he's going to hold up some maps, and we're going to get this ball rolling. Hi, Nick. How are you?
Hi, everybody.
So why don't you explain what's happening and what your preference would be on the bypass?
All right. I'm holding my preference. There's actually bypass is now gone down to two alternatives, A and B. B, I'd just as soon throw it in the toilet. This is plan A. This is alternative A. And it's coming down 40. This is River Road. And it's coming down 40 and makes a turn here with a large interchange here.
And what is at that
night.
interchange? Like what?
Smith's is right here.
Okay.
Smith,
The new Smith.
New Smith's is right there.
Okay.
And they got, with the plan development here.
Okay.
And then this is this open field now.
Yes.
Make this go westbound
Right.
and make yourself around the new high school, cross Midway Lane, out around the power plant, and then down to 189. This is the airport.
So let me ask you a few questions. How does this affect the residents?
Negatively?
Yeah, I mean, obviously,
Positively, it's a plan to eliminate some of the traffic on Main Street. That's
Correct.
That's the original plan,
right.
and everybody would like that. We have enough traffic. By 2050, we're supposed to be over 30,000 people in Heber City. This lane this way will not affect those of us that want to keep the open space in the North Fields.
Okay.
It doesn't impact the North Fields.
Okay.
Except for this leg right here, and just before it connects to Midway Lane or Highway 113. Where it negatively affects many people will be all the new businesses on 1300 South, where it will connect here with the main artery and the bypass coming off of 40 out of the basin, hitting the hub. Just before the hub, they want to put an interchange, cut across the vacant lots behind there, and then cut straight across, past the car wash. This is Walmart, and past all these new businesses. It will go up against two subdivisions, this one and this one, with the back of their properties, right up against the UDOT property, with a 30-foot high. The road is going to be 30 feet high. The main flow.
I was just going to ask. So 30
wall with 30 feet high with the traffic up above, and a frontage road on the south end and the north end, a single lane frontage road.
and that's alternative A, which is in favor.
And that's I out of the two, I would favor this one.
And why is there only two right now?
I do not agree with this at all. This affects way too many families, way too many lives, too many dreams. And when they could easily keep it on 40, do a large interchange at the property they already own, maybe affect taking out the vacant Tunex building and the vacant restaurant there to allow more space, and continue down 189, just past the gravel that the Allen family owns.
Yes.
The gravel just past that, and then cut across the sewer field and connect to their main line. That would eliminate all this taking out homes, impacting these families with a large artery of traffic, truck traffic, and everything else going right behind them at 30 feet in the air. So that's the issue with me. I would like to think UDOT's talented enough to figure this out and figure, hey, we're only going to go south just a little bit to make that curve. It can be done. This is alternative B. I don't like it. I think a lot of people don't like it. I don't support this at all. What an impact. Again, this is River Road, comes down to Potter Lane, and will come across the North Fields, connect to the interchange. They will still have the 9th North Road highway coming in off of 40. So there will have to be a big interchange. This becomes now big city. This becomes two big highways running pretty much parallel to each other, within sight of each other, connecting at 9th North, then coming down and meeting down here to 189. it'll still connect this. This definitely's got to go. I don't agree. I do not support this.
So any other homes on alternative B besides for the homes on Walmart where they're gonna have some big ugly 30-foot?
There are properties here. The exact number I won't quote because I don't know the exact number.
Okay,
And I don't think anybody really does until you start plowing and
right.
start buying out. UDOT starts to pay out. But this is going to affect a lot of homes, a lot of properties. It impacts some of the heritage farm that we've already been trying to preserve. This is not to me. This is not feasible. This will destroy the heart of the valley, the heart of the county, in my opinion. That's that. And they do have a number of lights they want to go on 40. They want to have free flow intersections here. The one draft that they have, UDOT has, is they have a big flyover at 9th North, but you come off the flyover to go in the right lanes and do a huge curve, and that will take out the new businesses there at Smith's up front and the proposed businesses to have that flyover. When UDOT could easily engineer it, I would hope that their engineers are talented enough to take the flyover on the inside lane like we have going northbound on 40 connecting to westbound 80 and have the flyover on the inside where it can stay within their boundaries. That would be my hope. So they could redo that.
Okay, so there you have it. It's really important if you're a citizen here in Heber to be able to show up to these meetings, because if we're not showing up, then you don't have any say. And it looks like my map is frozen. Hey, Dwayne on the back end, my friend.
You're doing fine, Lori.
It
Everything's
looks like
coming through good.
I just only see the original map. It's not, the camera's not moving. Is it moving
You,
for you?
yeah, it is. Everything's working. You're
Okay,
good.
that's weird because I'm frozen on my end. Okay,
Yeah,
I just want,
you're coming through a little grainy, but that's just the Wi-Fi, the phone line. That's just
okay.
your okay.
All
But
right, so I think I'm gonna come over here. I'm gonna interview Allison. Can you see Allison, Dwayne, just so that I know that even though I'm frozen on my end?
you're good.
All right. Well, we had a little technical glitch, but we know that we can see Allison. So, Allison,
Yeah.
Nick just got done explaining the bypass, the alternative A and the alternative B. I know you've been kind of really, yeah, heavy into this as well. So, can I first of all, can you just tell me your name and then give me your honest opinion on how you feel about the bypass
Allison Salisbury, and I'm against the bypass. I'm
altogether?
altogether. Um, because it makes no sense to me. It's too late. Um,
How do you feel about the insane traffic going down Main?
well, when they pointed out on Monday night that 73 or 78% of the traffic on Main is local traffic. This is not going to divert a lot of things, a lot of people. So it's not like we have this influx of people driving through Heber and now they're going to take a different route. This is just local traffic every day going up and down. So
Have you seen an increase? You've lived here a long time.
I don't drive during that time.
Well,
And I take side streets.
yes, like most of us.
Most of it. So also, I can't prove this. I don't know if it's going to happen, but yeah, they're going to get the bypass. And yeah, all that land is protected till it's not, till deals are made and suddenly urban sprawl is out, coming out from the bypass. So you'd have to prove to me that is impossible, can't happen. And then I still don't believe it. So,
Okay. So let me just flip gears.
Yeah.
So I was on Zoom the other night on the Meet the Candidates, Heidi Franco versus Scott Phillips. And I know, I was there as well when some of the stuff went down, but I was kind of little caught off guard. You went up and you asked a question as a citizen of Heber City on an event that happened in the stairwell with Scott Phillips, and you were kind of cut off. And it was kind of honestly a smooth way of avoiding your questions. So now that I've got undivided attention with you, so can you just give me your opinion? You were there. So what happened?
The only thing I was asking him was how did he explain that that's an ethical behavior? If he wants
He as in Scott Phillips.
Scott Phillips, if he wants to be our mayor, if you're attacking citizens, I've seen, and I had another example I probably should have used maybe even better, where he attacked the mayor. I've seen him attack the mayor. He's not, when he's talking about saying, he didn't say, he called her a liar. There were guests in the room because many people in that room had heard him call her a liar. And he just totally, no, I said you're lying. No, so the entire night, I don't find him to be an ethical person because when you lie, that's not ethical. And
Well, it's not a mayor that we want. I noticed a couple of times when he was being asked questions, his tone and mannerism to me were just a little bit frightening because he sat back on his chair and crossed his arms. Which, listen, I've been a business owner for a long time and I'm always aware of people's body posture. How did you feel about that when he just kind of slammed himself back into a chair? When I say slammed, I'm not saying that, he abruptly went back, but he kind of just crossed his arms and sat back because somebody asked him a question that maybe he wasn't comfortable with.
well, I'm not going to get into my opinions. But I will say the fact that he would not is the only person who didn't sign the ethical uh, paperwork. First, he said, "Oh, I was probably gone." And then he came back and said, "Well, I can't sign it. I don't want to sign it because it could come back and haunt me. People could use it against me." I'm going, well, yeah. Why? Because you're planning on being unethical and you don't want someone coming saying, "Oh, you signed this ethical." That was a huge red flag. Red flag when he said, "I want the mayor to have less power."
Oh, I thought that was funny when he said that because I
not to laugh
no, I commented on that on the Zoom link.
because my feeling is he's going to work to restore mayor's power, 100%. So, yeah, it was an interesting evening.
All right. Well, that's a wrap up from Allison. We're just going to continue along.
Yeah, I think that we allowed us for that.
Everybody was really impressed.
We are here.
I think it was impressed for all of us. I thought it was a 10 turnout.
Mhm.
Everybody was
It was a good turnout.
absolutely good turnout.
And I really thought they would only have, I mean, even Julie was just pretty much saying, I'm hoping, she said.
So here we are. We're at Wheeler Park, Heber, Utah. And what I call the three powerhouse teams, Heidi, Franco, Nick, and Yvonne. They're just out here talking just to the regular citizens, asking them what they think really about really what's happening. How could we better Utah? How could we better Heber, Utah is really just like one of the biggest things. I think being part of Heber, Utah, since 2015, I really honestly think that there has been some changes. And in order to take back and give back to the citizens on really what they're looking for them to have a little bit of their freedom. And I know housing was addressed, the cost of housing. I honestly don't think tiny little houses is going to change anything. We need to figure out what's going on with the taxes and how do we help the current community, the elderly that are living paycheck to paycheck. And that's really what it's all about. And what are we going to be able to provide for our kids that are up and coming that are hoping to remain here in Utah? So I think I'm going to go back and actually ask another question.
Yes.
So Nick, let me ask you, how do you feel about like where we are with the taxes, do you think these tiny little homes
But they
are
listened
going to
on
be able to like
those-
support more and more people coming? I don't understand that myself
There, I'm going to ask.
with that, instead of getting a grasp on where we are with taxes, how we are with big developers that obviously want the land here to bring in more people. But how do you feel about that? You have children, you have older kids.
My kids are older. They could never afford to live here. If I had to buy new now, I couldn't afford to buy it here. Uh, just like the other firefighters, they can't even afford to live here. They gotta live in Duchesne. The majority of them live in Duchesne. So the taxes, I think we're taxing everybody right out of here. People with fixed incomes are really hurting. You know, young families can't even be part of the system. Um, public workers can't afford to live here. So I think we gotta do something with, you know, a little more with the sales tax, so we get the people that coming in here paying a little bit more. We need to start living within our needs, we can't build Disneyland. This is the Main Street Park. Great ideas, but can we really afford that? Can we start taxing the people for this? You know, and all the, and the maintenance and all that stuff for what
together.
is just too much. This is too much right now. This may be, some of these things can be done later on, but this is the type of stuff that I won't grab a hold. I think the park looks great the way it is. I think they could update the bathrooms, update the pavilion for where people have picnics. But the rest of this stuff this is a good wish list.
Right. And it's been functional and working, you know, even with the farmer's market.
I think if you look at this, and you look at all the concrete that's going in here, the grass is gonna become less. It's like an amusement park.
Right.
And if we want an amusement park, maybe they could put it out. Maybe something like this, a park could be put out by where the fairgrounds are. And where it can be used.
Right.
Stay to the beautiful city downtown.
Right. Right. All right. Well, thank you for that. Oh, you know what, Nick, I have another question then. I want to ask Yvonne a question. Why are you running for Heber City Council?
Well, I served my country 25 years. I served, I'm still serving in Salt Lake City Fire Department 32 years. I've got 42 years in uniform, serving the public. It's just something in my blood, and I want to continue serving people of my town. This is my neighborhood, so I want to continue serving here. That's just something that's rewarding for me, just to do things for other people.
And you feel you can make a difference?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. New blood, fresh blood. It's like having a cattle ranch. You don't keep using the same bull. You want to bring in some fresh blood, fresh ideas.
Right. All right. Well, that's a wrap for right now with Nick and Yvonne. Would you mind
Oh, that's fine.
if I so let me ask you a question. Sorry, audience on the swivel camera here. Why are you running here in Heber?
Running or seeking reelection because I've been solo on the city council for quite some time. There's been a lot of times. I made a promise when I first ran back in 2021 to the citizens that I would do all that I can to make sure that their voices were heard. And that I would do all that I could to protect their interests and to listen to what they have to say. And I felt sometimes that while I've ran for the last 4 years, that has been very difficult because when I've turned down high density growth, I have usually been the only one that has said no. And I feel that the citizens' voices still need to be heard because I don't know if anyone else is willing to actually hear their voice. And so until they don't want me, then here I am. And if they choose not to vote for me, then I guess my work is done. So until that happens, that's why I've chosen to run.
Well, keep fighting
Yep.
because I know there's a bunch of us already voting for you.
But you'd be interested.
All right. It's Jim Gagan there. So, Jim Gagan.
I was gonna say, hi, sir, how are you? Get cookies. Just get it right now.
Not for my wife.
There are
Can't say stuff
cookies
like
here and pumpkins. So any of you watching this live stream, please come down, support the candidates. We really want you to meet Yvonne and Nick and Heidi. So Jim Gagan, What do you think? What's changed since you moved here in 2015?
Traffic.
Okay. And how do you feel about the bypass?
Well, I think they got to do something, but I would start with retiming the lights and looking at the traffic patterns.
And why is that?
Well, if you drove through Heber, you know what I'm talking about.
All right. Okay. Well, maybe that's a cost-effective solution that we can work on right away is retiming the traffic lights. Not sure who's responsible for that, but I will be asking. Heidi Franco is out there talking to someone in the community, and we will be talking with her next. Okay, I am actually going to interview Jill Watson next. She's a citizen actually right here in Wheeler Park. Um, so, Jill, let me ask you your opinion. Um, one, how do you feel about the bypass?
Well, I feel that it should have been done about 20, 30 years ago, and they've kicked it down the can too long, but I am for it because the traffic, I think, downtown is too much. And also because they're building so much to the north end of the town with Coyote Point and a whole other development. I realize that a lot of the traffic, the majority of the traffic coming into town is coming up in Coyote Canyon on 189. So if they do a swing wide and then go across the backside like they're proposing,
Okay,
those people will absolutely avoid the whole downtown because it will be way faster for them to go from south all the way down to the other side and they're almost at their location. So I see where it can help for that a lot. And I've proposed for the trucks coming in from the 40 out of Strawberry area that they should turn left. And I don't want the overpasses. I think they just do the normal lights and they go down past the new dirt pit and the city owns that land across from the airport and do big, huge wide swings. So they don't have to stop. There's no light there. They just wide swing onto it. So that'll be easy and fast. And coming the other way, they do a wide swing out. The only light you would need is the ones that are coming up to turn left there to go to the north side. And I should suggest they add an extra lane so everybody could still not stop at the light. Just leave the people that need to stop at the light now and then will do it. You've still got a lot more flow. So I think because they kicked it down the can too long, I think they do need it. But that's just, I think it will help on the traffic.
okay. So let me ask you another question. What are your thoughts on Heidi Franco as our current mayor?
I've been to a lot of city council meetings and I think she handles them very fairly, very measured. And I just really like the way she gives everybody, she just makes it all flow the way she handles the meetings. And I think she's very good about conducting the meetings for the city.
Okay. And how'd you feel about, they was it last night or the night before? I'm getting my nights mixed up. Anyway, so they had to meet the candidates, at the town hall there. And how do you, how, so you were kind of involved a little bit on ranked choice voting, like a lot of us, but we got it passed. And I know that, you know, many people were ecstatic about it. What's your opinion on ranked choice voting and why?
Well, my ring choice vote, you can't audit it. And even now, we don't really have much of a situation to audit. I'm a big opponent after helping do hand count for our county council meetings and for, well, actually the GOP we did, and we did a bunch of the counting that way for our delegates and stuff. And we were able to do easily 200 people in 30 minutes with color ballots. Just separate them, and then you have 4 people. You have two people witness. One person calls, one person tallies. Everybody's, at the end of the day, win or lose, everybody's happy because it's fair. The problem with the mail-in ballots is we don't know how many of the ballots are coming in from people who aren't real citizens. And we also have no way of counting them because once they put them in a machine, we're learning nationwide with all the information coming out, the Smartmatic and Dominion. If anybody can manipulate the software, they can manipulate the algorithm. If they manipulate the algorithm, you have no way of knowing. They can sit there and go, oh, look, we'll count them all over again. As long as it's going through a machine, we do not have custody of our vote. You lose custody.
And that's a good word, losing
Lose
custody.
custody of your vote. You need to have hand count, paper ballots, marked citizen ID, counted where casted, and it's really not that complicated if you, especially if you break it down to the precinct level. And I think we'll probably get about 3,000 people voting here. We could easily get about 60 people together here and have 4 stations and count this thing in less than 2 hours.
Okay. And you were involved in the Hand Count Roadshow. We were really trying to educate, and you helped Mark put this together. What was the reason for getting Hand Count Roadshow all across the state of Utah?
To build awareness to the community that we do not have the gold standard of elections here in Utah, that we do not have a way to audit anything, that there's no way. Again, I mean, it's going to come back to what you just asked me. As long as you're using machines, they who control the machines can control the back end of the things. And win or lose, I'd rather have people sitting there hand counting everything and doing it down to the precinct level because it's really easy. We proved it by doing our local county races. We did 200 people in less than a half hour. So it's not going to be that complicated to do it. And if you have everybody witnessing, win or lose, at least you can all walk away and say it was fair.
Right. Right.
But what I would like to say, may I offer something that
Sure.
I'm concerned about? My big concern about this county right now is there was a bill passed in our legislation last year, and I can't recall the name of the bill. But my understanding is it allows the state, if they decide that, you know, they need development somewhere, for example, here in Wasatch County, they don't even have to go through our city and our county council people anymore. They can decide they need it. They work it out with the developers and they can come in here. How is that representation for our community? If we can have them come in and say, we're going to deem that you need high density housing and we have no say so. I am adamantly against that. And that's why I say you guys need to get involved locally. You need to get involved with your city and your county councils, and you guys need to pay attention. We need to get behind them because we're going to have to fight the state on this.
Okay.
That's my
How do you
opinion.
really feel about it?
How do I really feel?
Is it possible to fight the state?
I think if we get enough people together in enough counties that know that this is this law, a lot of the people in the outlying counties, they don't really notice it right now because there's no need. But right now, we're kind of like this triangle between Salt Lake down to Provo, up here to Heber. And I don't know, it seems like they want to pave this valley from, you know, mountainside, you know, from clear across the valley. And what are they going to do? Pave every single inch of this valley? We're not going to have any open space?
Right.
And if we don't have a say so and the developers can come in here, how are we going to stop them?
Right.
So, and I
Agreed.
feel like we don't have a voice. So,
Can I ask you one more question? How do you feel about the Charlie Kirk assassination happening right here in our own home state?
how do I feel about it? Well, first of all, it was horrible. I, you know, I don't have kids in school here, but here's my understanding. My question is this: who in this state and what is going on in this state that made somebody so threatened that they had to silence his voice when all he was doing was talking about God, family, and freedom? And he was trying to teach the kids in college, don't just listen to everything, ask questions, have an engagement, even if you disagree. So who in the state was so threatened by him that they had him taken out? It was an assassination. And number two, my whole thing is, with Charlie is, if you're
Yeah.
gonna have that kind of dialogue, why did all of a sudden they reschedule this whole thing and yet not have some of the people that Charlie Kirk had invited in, like the alignment? Instead, they had all the people, their opponents, and they completely silenced him, and yet he was the one that was with Charlie when they were here. So to me, I think there's a lot of silencing going on with that whole thing, and it's a serious question. And I think the reason why we have this, the other question should be, the agendas that this governor, this state, in my opinion, has been pushing with the UN and the whole local community and everything. They keep saying, oh, no, we're trying to,
He's not elected.
let's all get along better and tolerance. But tolerance for what? At what point do you have to tolerate things that are changing the mindset of your youth? And what do they have to tolerate? Because if they're the ones that are responsible for the last 10 years of pushing all this stuff in the state, and they have created hate. They have created the division, not us.
Right.
That's not from us. It's the environment that they've created, and they need to be held accountable for that.
Right. Right. No, I like what you said. Thank you very much for making a comment on that.
All right. Thank you.
What a nice couple. You want Nick and I to talk together?
Yeah, that's fine.
You
So
want to just sit down here together?
yeah, why don't you have a seat? We're getting ready to interview and ask Heidi Franco some questions as more people stop in. Grabbing the beautiful pumpkins and I'm sure the delicious cookies. So here we go. We've got Nick and Heidi. So Heidi, what do you think your biggest accomplishment has been since you have been mayor so far?
I think the number one thing for me is to keep my word to the citizens. I promised I would protect their air quality and their water quality and their open space, and I have delivered on that promise in the last 4 years. Wrote that air quality ordinance, co-wrote the sensitive lands ordinance, proposed the stormwater management ordinance, did the mapping with the Utah State Geological Survey to map the wetlands in the Provo River and in the North Fields and up through the upper Provo River past Jordan now. So I've done so much to protect air quality, water quality. Then as chair of the Open Lands Board, I've been able to propose 9 projects to the county council for that $10 million open space fund. And we leveraged it for 623 acres to be preserved in perpetuity. But we only spent 10 million, and that 10 million was matched 6.5 times to pay for that 623 acres. Now, they're not done deals yet because we have to wait for the leveraged money to come in. But that is so important to me to keep my promises to the.
Okay. So I was online the other night when Meet the Candidates was going on.
Yes.
For me, I was a little caught off guard on maybe some of the comments that made. The one thing that kind of made me just a little upset was Allison was asking some questions and he just really kind of just did a workaround. I always, kind of like a slick move. I can't answer your question. I'm not going to. And then her time was out. But how do you think that went? And I was especially concerned on the ethics. Um, policies that they were talking about on signing and not signing. So can you comment on that?
Yes, there's federal ethics codes, there's a state ethics code, there's a city ethics code, and then we also sign ethics code for like the sewer district that I'm on, Heber Light and Power, the Wasatch Open Lands Board, and then we also have a yearly ethics code from the state auditor's office in the different boards that we sit on, as well as the city council. You can see there's a lot, right? And then I also had to sign an ethics code for the campaign. And each one of these ethics codes say, treat others with respect, do not attack them personally, do not attack their family. Okay, be honest, disclose all your conflicts of interest, be respectful to the citizens, you know, the basic ethics that we need
Right.
to have in our government. There's nothing in there about the mayor monitoring Facebook for somebody
He
else.
kind of laughed
Nothing
at
at
me,
all.
and I said, you know how I feel.
Mayor's not a babysitter. I'm sorry.
Well, I think when you sign on to Facebook, there's something you have to sign that's like, I'm a grown up and I'm not going to do any of that. Yeah.
Yes. And I mean, we are public figures. We are putting ourselves in the public eye. And the Supreme Court has said many times that if you're a public figure, people are going to say whatever they want to about you because you're the one that put yourself in the public eye.
Right.
The only thing they can't say is, I want to kill you or I'm going to harm you, because then the police get involved, right?
Right.
But if they want to say you're good, you're bad, you're ugly, you're smart, whatever it is, that's their freedom of speech because we chose to be public figures. So nothing in any ethics code says that somebody has to defend somebody else according to whatever ethics code Mr. Phillips thinks that is out there. He needs to read the ethics code and he's not signing them. So obviously he's not reading them either.
Yes. That's a very good point on that. What do you think of the bypass?
Well, we've always wanted the bypass here because that was talked about 30 years ago when I came to this valley, but it was always the same route, right? It was going to go up Highway 40, down to Southfield Road, straight pretty much up, and then around to where that 900 North Smith new light intersection is. And that was always the route that everyone had said, yeah, that's what it's going to be. There was kind of a fight on the southwest corner of Heber because of that 1300 South Road that goes in front of Walmart and was supposed to go across there. But the majority clearly agreed for 30 years, and there's a county resolution, there's a city resolution that go way back to say, go up Southfield Road, go straight, and then go over to Smith. And then the UDOT came along with 13 alternatives, right? And the one that has stuck, that was proposed by a local architecture firm, as well as some previous city council members, was the one that went straight through the Northfields to River Road. That was so shocking. That came out of the blue. And yet I documented that it was previous city council members that went to UDOT back in 2019 and said, go through the Northfields. And they never said it publicly. But it's on my blog website at HeidiFrancoHeber.com, and you can check out that documentation yourself.
Okay. Thank you for that. The last question that I have for both of you, and I don't know who wants to start first. We all did a vigil here for Charlie Kirk. So how did you feel when you heard the news and that it happened here in our home state?
I'll start. It was to me, it was very heartbreaking to have anytime I hear a shooting or I respond to a shooting, to see innocent victims be, taken out. It happened, what, 35 minutes from here, from where we're sitting. It was a man exercising his freedom of speech. He had a gathering of peaceful, minus one, people that had good intent to listen to what he had to say, engage him in conversation and debate. And within minutes of the beginning, his life is over for exercising his freedom of speech, something I've defended in the military. So I think freedom of speech for everybody is there. It's been granted. It's part of our constitution. It's part of who we are as a society. And, you know, it's been paid for in blood in every war we've been in, it's been paid for in blood. And, I've got friends that have lost their lives in combat and, later in suicide and because they fought in combat for those rights. And so it's very disheartening.
Makes you see so much violence. He's seen the wars, he's seen the aftermath of wars with his troops that were under him. And when we see this happening in our, what we think is a peaceful place, it's horrific. It's terrible. It is rotten. It's so horrific that it's hard for me to articulate, you know, how deep it goes because the shock is still there. We have people in this city that were there and the shock there for them. They're still suffering, you know, that PTSD from it too. You know, when deaths and horror happen like that to us, it takes time to heal. And then we have the Grand Blanc, Michigan terrorist act too. Can it please stop? Can we please respect each other? Why do we have to let our words and our hate grow so much that we do the violence, right? Thoughts, words, actions. We've got to break that cycle. We need to respect each other. We're neighbors here. We're neighbors in this state. We're neighbors in this country. Are we really going to believe what this country is founded on? Respect, civility, equality, fairness.
This is not so near.
First Amendment, Second Amendment, you know, all of these incredible liberties that the rest of the world just would love to have.
Yeah,
We take it for granted and it turns into this horrific thing.
In this country, what makes us so great is we are cut from different cloths, but we come together in one. You know, we come together in one under this flag, united, and we have inalienable rights to say what we want. And yeah, I may not agree with Heidi. Heidi may not agree with me. We have different religious views. We have different political views. We're different, but we're all under the same flag. We are one country, and we have to be able to have dialogue, have discussions, maybe disagreements, maybe at times keeps disagreements, but it doesn't have to be at the end of the rifle. And I've been at the end of, I've protected this Constitution at the end of, at the end of the rifle. So, it's scary. You know, even my wife is like, we're getting in politics. Somebody may not agree with you. They may not want you in office. You know, are you going to be okay sitting in city council chambers? You know, and it's a big, it's scary. It's a horrible thought, but it's reality. That's where we are in the United States now.
Right.
Do I need as a concealed carry permit to start carrying my pistol again? I need to a city council meeting in a public building where I'm trying to represent the people. I need to self-protect myself there. Well, I'm not gonna let nobody know I'm there, it's ugly thought. And I shouldn't have to feel that way. I shouldn't have to feel that. I'm looking over my shoulder, because that comes from years in the military. I don't like.
Well, even our churches, I mean, when I attend, it's just like I'm always walking who's coming in the back door. But let me ask you both a question, and this is actually a question coming from me. So since our borders have been open, I and Heber have seen a bit of an uptick in crime. Um, how can we better protect the citizens? I know that there's a lot of controversy with Spencer Cox allowing them in. That's my opinion. But we do see more and more here on the streets, and we see them in the parks. I mean, what are your feelings about that? And again, that's a personal question for me.
I just talked with the chief with the Grand Blanc, Michigan, you know, shooting. I said, how can we assure our citizens that we are on top of this, that they are safe here? He is doing a new initiative to provide active shooter training to the community. That'll be coming forward. We have an agreement with ICE, right? That if they're committing crimes, ICE gets called. If they're arrested, right? If they're arrested, ICE gets called. The only crime that I've seen, and it's really not demographically or, you know, related, is just domestic violence. We've always, that seems to be, you know, kind of a hot spot there, domestic violence. But we still continue to have the regular DUIs. We still continue to have regular drug abuse that happens. It's pretty rare, but it happens, right? We've been able to keep gangs out of our valley. They like to keep trying to come in, but we're on top of that. We have been as long as I've been on the city council. I could tell you a lot of stories on that. Chief Booth did an amazing job, and now he's retired. We expect Chief Sever to do that same job. So we are actively trying to do outreach to the community and provide more services to them to make sure they can feel safe, but they may not, right? And so I have been talking to some church leadership and telling them that if they are not feeling safe, they need to come to the city and we need to see what we can work out. But we are doing extra patrols right now.
Okay.
So we're not really seeing, I mean, we have burglaries once in a while, right? But usually we're able to catch them relatively fast. There's really nothing outstanding out there that's just hanging on and we can't solve. So we're doing good that way, right? And I've always pushed for another police officer every single year. Because why? Because we're growing. We can't stretch them too thin.
Right.
And we also can't just rely on the goodness of our citizens to keep us safe, right? We need to be able to protect our citizens 24/7. So those are things I've done. So I'm not seeing any crime wave or relationship to any particular group, but I feel like we are growing. We used to get 20 calls a day. Now we're up to 40 or so a day. It can vary, right? Weekends, holidays, things like that. But it's not hundreds of calls every day. See what I mean?
Right.
It's within our growth parameters. So does that answer your?
Yeah, it does. Do you have any comments on that, Nick?
Yeah, I don't want to demonize any one group, especially if there was a group of people speaking one language or another in a park. I don't, I can't, I don't have any right over there to ask them what their nationality is. I come from a Latino background. My parents and my grandparents spoke Spanish in the house. And U.S. citizens sent their son off all their sons off to war. But if you look at the cross section, and I've gone through and looked at news articles and that's where I've got my sources of where the crime has been in this county, and it's across every group of people. The DUIs are a cross section of people. We've had two sexual related crimes by sheriff's department employees. It's just a cross section. In my department, we've had problems with individuals with sex crime. Fire department, we had people throughout the state. You got a fire chief that's got a sex crime against him. So here in the valley, I think we live in a pretty safe place. There's some knuckleheads that try things. In this nice neighborhood, I had 5 young individuals in my backyard at 2:30 in the morning, within arm's reach of my back window where I was open, and I heard them talking. And while that was going on, my Ring camera picked up one of the knuckleheads trying to get in my truck. So 5 in the backyard, at least one going around the vehicles in the driveway. And when I called PD, when I confronted them, went outside the house and confronted them. They took off running, and 2 of my actually escorts went down this end of the street, and I realized I'm kind of putting myself out here. Didn't have my cell phone, and when I finally got PD, they did respond very quickly. 2 officers that were on duty, and I didn't know how many officers were on, but I was curious how many officers were running in the city at that time. And Heber City had 2 officers on duty that night at that time. 2.
It's taken us time to get there, believe you me. And that's been a real priority of mine.
Good.
And if with my ride-alongs with the sheriff's department and with the police department, and my questions with the 2 officers that took me out, the 2 sergeants, one from the sheriff's department, PD. Great guys, great bunch of guys. The people that I did meet and the things that we talked about while we were on patrol. They're doing the best they can with the resources they're granted. What I would propose and what I want to push if I'm elected is I want to get more patrol officers on the street. That's where the bang is. The big,
Right.
That's where the money's going to make a difference. Getting more patrol officers, allowing. I mean, it's got to be pretty scary for those guys. They have, with them both running short of people. And the county sheriff's, it has the enormous responsibility, the whole county.
County.
So their backup's a ways away. Yeah, they do have highway patrol and they may have a DNR cop out, but their backup's way behind. And so I think they're making a presence. They're doing the best job they can with the resources they have. I would like to see more.
Agreed. I would too. Yep.
And that is the deterrent. You know, the black and white patrol cars, marked cars, they're very professional. When I did ride with Heber City PD, the police cars are shiny, they're well-disciplined guys, their uniforms are sharp, they look sharp, they present themselves well, they're just short in numbers.
Okay.
The more we have, the better we will all be.
Well, thank you both.
So you should know what the number one crime is in our city, traffic violations.
Really?
Yes.
Like violent traffic,
No,
rage
no,
traffic, or
speeding,
running
it's that kind of thing,
stoplights?
Right.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest complaint, I'll just say. That is the biggest complaint. And so we've got a new motorcycle cop that is helping that way. We're getting some e-bikes for the police so they can get up on the trails when there's issues there too. So we're trying to do more in order to protect the safety of our city. We want to keep this place safe.
Okay. Well, that's a wrap. There you have it. Heidi Franco, you have my voice. Nick Lopez, you have my voice. Yvonne, you have my vote. And this is a wrap. This is Lori Gagan with KMMU. And to take a look further at this interview, you can go to mainstreetmediautah.com. And that's a wrap as we get in to the sun, the moon, beautiful Wheeler Park. And we obviously want to keep it this way. Sorry for the phone going back and forth. It's a new podcast device I have, still not used to it. But good night from now from KMMU.